Hello folks, we are walking around one of America's most preserved territorial prisons. For about a century long, this prison behind us has operated throughout many different ages in American history and functioned as one of the most secure prisons in this frontier region of the country. This facility once housed some of America's worst offenders. Some people got very light sentences, some people got heavy sentences, some were paroled early, some never got out until they passed away. Yeah, just outside of that city in the distance that we'll be exploring today stands a testament to the historical legacy that this area has played. This is the Idaho Territorial Prison. That's right. I said Idaho. That is a state in the US, which only means we have left Oregon. We have now entered our 48th and final state of the lower 48, the contiguous US, Idaho, the gem state. Luckily for you all, I already took my visit to that prison, and I compiled a series of clips full of fascinating stuff. Lots of information posted on all the walls, different cell blocks, different buildings for different functions like various prisoner work facilities or a dining hall or even, just recreational grounds. This was a facility that lasted until the 1970s. Today, there are no more inmates housed at this facility. It's more of a museum now. But I just thought we should begin today our first location, our debut into this beautiful state of Idaho, to show you guys just a really fun, historically preserved area. It's a major landmark in this area. Can you guys believe it? For those of you who stuck out for this whole journey across the 50 states, or at least most of it, I can remember the days when we only had single-digit states, and now we can proudly say that we on the Coverage Project have visited every state of the lower 48. We only have 2 states left. Some of you might already know what those 2 states are, but on this final leg or so of the Best of the Most West tour, we must understand this state, Idaho. It's a very underrated state. I think it's a state that really likes to keep itself under the radar. Maybe it prefers it that way so it doesn't become a big, tacky tourist state like some of them are in the US. So let's begin to visit this hidden gem of Idaho in not just any city, not just any town, but its largest city, essentially its cultural hub, and capital city, all in one. Welcome to the city of trees, Boise. Oh, I'm sorry, Boise. Make sure to really enunciate the S. It's there for a reason. It's not B-O-I-Z-E, it's B-O-I-S-E. Boise, Idaho, capital of the gem state. Yeah, before we truly discover the wonder within the city of Boise, enjoy this little montage of the Idaho Territorial and later State Prison. let's talk about the Snake River for a bit. The Snake River is a very, very important tributary of the larger Columbia River, what I call the Mississippi River of the Northwest. Yeah, the Columbia River is the largest river in North America that flows into the Pacific, and the Snake River is one of its principal tributaries. It's truly the river which defines Idaho as we know it. Literally, look at a map of the Snake River and all of its tributaries and headwaters, and you'll see how that's what makes the border between Idaho and Montana and forms a lot of the other rivers which are in the state. This is actually a really nice visual of the state of Ohio that I found. Thanks, Julia Davis Park. You can see all the counties of Idaho and see how its natural geography really shapes the state that we know of, Idaho. So all of this flat land was carved out by the ancient river of the Snake River. It would go all the way here and enter Oregon and then go to Washington, where it would meet up with the larger Columbia River. We're right here in southwestern Idaho. I think that marker is right there, the little flower-looking thing. That's Boise. Now, nobody really lives here. This is just mountain country, national forests, and lots of woods. And a few people here live in the north. There's some scenic beauty, lots of lakes. But this is the region we really want to focus on, because that is where we are, Boise, the capital of Idaho. This whole area is known as the Treasure Valley, southwestern Idaho. It's a beautiful place. So there should be a river right here which flows as a tributary of the larger Snake River. And that's what we're going to be talking about in more detail. Let's check that Snake River tributary, the Boise River, out. This is now the second park bench that we've seen submerged in water just on this tour. Yeah. But hey, look at that. Flowing water. So powerful. This is the Boise River. But seriously, check out how powerful this river is. It's so powerful that it's drowning out the trunks of those trees. I don't know if it's the flood season. It might be. But oh, this river is really something. Notice how it's just completely tree-lined. That was the case when this area was first explored by Europeans. This was how it was, generally tree-lined, a tree-lined oasis, when the first settlers came here. The story goes that there was this US trek hiking for miles and miles through this high desert of what's today Idaho. And their French-speaking guide finally saw the trees, the woods that they found approaching this river. And the guy couldn't contain himself. He was just like, les bois, which means the woods in French. And that's kind of how people think this area was named. The Boise River, named for the trees, the woods, because this was not always the city of trees. This used to be the only stretch of trees. Most of this area was not forest, it was just high desert, arid country, maybe sagebrush, and that was it. I mean, there's another alternative story to how this river got named, and it's kind of similar. A bunch of fur trappers who also spoke French. Maybe they were French Canadian or from mainland France, who knows, but they were exploring this countryside, and they too came across this river, lined with trees. Naturally, they called it La Rivière Boisée, the wooded river. So no matter what the story might have been, it's kind of clear cut that this river is known for its trees. Today, we call this place Boise, after the Boise River. Nothing like a good old Americanization of original language pronunciations, right? Yeah. Fort Boise was settled in the mid-1800s for an added layer of security for westward immigrants going on the Oregon Trail. Yes, the Oregon Trail also passed through Idaho. It passed through a lot of states. To get to Oregon, one would have to cross the Snake River Plain, which was kind of an easy part of the journey compared to these mountainous stretches. Fort Boise was set up to protect, because these westward immigrants never really knew along the long journey whether there was going to be a hostile tribe that didn't like them encroaching on those native lands. So Forts were set up all across the country. Fort Boise was also one of them. In the year 1863, America was in the midst of the Civil War. They had been going at it, the Union and Confederacy, for a couple years now. But here in Boise, things were only just getting started. 1863 was the year that Boise as a city was founded. Such a large distance separates the West from the East, so completely opposite worlds. A couple years later, 1865 rolls around, and Boise is given the title of territorial capital of Idaho. Yeah, tell that to the folks in Lewiston up north who already had the title, and it got stripped away from them. Well, hey, isn't that a fun sight? Yeah, Boise, state capital of Idaho, deserves its own state capitol building, of course. Yeah, in 1890, Idaho was declared a state admitted to the Union pretty late relative to a lot of states, but hey, this is the West, this is the Northwest. Makes sense. 1890 is kind of a fitting year. So this is the building. Yeah, kind of looks like the Washington State Capitol building, right? That neoclassical design, dome on top. Hey, a little golden angel on the very tippy top. But overall, it's not too dissimilar from a lot of other state capitals we've encountered, seen with our eyes. But I can't help but respect the building. It's a towering structure. It has that authoritative character, as if mere mortal, don't mess with Idaho at all. Let us prosper to the best of our ability and don't stand in our way, because we are a state with a large state capitol building. Well, might be high time that we enter this building, as we try to do to every state capitol building. Hopefully we're on the right side, and hopefully the doors are unlocked. Okay, great, wonderful. Let us enjoy our time here at the Idaho State Capitol interior. Well, this is something. We've seen flags in many state capitol buildings, but nothing as enormous as this stands right at the center, telling you, once you enter our building, make sure to have some Idaho pride, because we have a flag right in front of you. Wow. Oh, don't mind if I do. I feel so fancy. One could just sit down here, watch some television, maybe with a nice cocktail in hand. This is the lavish life of serving the Idaho state government, I guess. Well, it seems evident to me, at least, walking around, seeing what we can find on as many floors of this beautiful state capitol building of Idaho. I've come to the conclusion that this is no ordinary capitol building. This is a marble palace, a palace fit for the highest of esteemed folk working for the Idaho government. Once again, it's another one of those state capitol buildings where you walk around, and if you're walking every single day for work here, does it get to your head working in such a palace? This is why I seriously advocate for small capitol buildings, because then the officials, the people working on behalf of the state legislature or the government, it won't get to their heads. They'll remain humble. They'll remain in service to the public good of the ordinary citizens of that state. I took a short walk as I was explaining little bits and pieces about Idaho's history as we approached this capital, but that's not doing any good to the downtown of Boise. We definitely gotta spend a little more time in the downtown, seeing what the buildings are like, what the atmosphere is like in the downtown. So that way we go. First of all, I gotta fixate all of your attention on this. Every light, every so often, every several feet, you'll see plaques or seals of each county of Idaho. And this is a great thing. I've seen a handful of states do this. They pay respect to each individual county, as it should be. A state is made up of counties. Each county is playing an important role to the whole of the state. So, what a great thing. That end, well, Boise seems to be extremely walkable. There have been some problems I've encountered in many different state capitals where there's just too much construction work, or there's too much dedicated to the auto traffic and not enough pedestrian traffic, and it just makes a self-tour of the city just miserable. But Boise, Idaho does things differently. Dang, Olympia, Washington. I said you guys were the champions of alley art and wall murals. Seems like you have a major competitor in Boise, Idaho. Now, we might be hundreds of miles away from the Pacific coast right now, but that doesn't mean it feels like we're still in the Pacific Northwest here in downtown Boise. A whole bunch of the atmosphere that I'm currently feeling right now is definitely reminiscent of the days we spent in those Pacific Northwestern cities. I mean, for many, this is considered the easternmost point of the Pacific Northwest region, but at the same time, outside the city, Rocky Mountain, interior West country. Now, why am I saying that? It just feels that way. I don't know. The downtown of Boise feels very, very characteristically Pacific Northwestern. We have plenty of art on the streets, lots of wacky, abnormal business ideas and tropes and themes, and I guess Pacific Northwest's characteristic amount of breweries. Lots of bars here. I don't know if that's just a Pacific Northwest thing to have an abnormally large amount of bars and tap rooms, but that's what I'm seeing here in Boise. Now, we're already having a blast here in Boise, understanding the cultural and historical wonder and significance. But if you're wondering to yourself, is there something more to Boise? Is there something that truly sets it apart? Something that's culturally distinct from anywhere else, really, in the whole country? Well, you're in luck. Welcome to the Basque Block. The Basque people are very interesting and hold many, many secrets to human history. They call a little slice of northern Spain and southwestern France home, Basque country. They speak the Basque language, or as they call it, Euskara. Now, what's very, very interesting is that it's not similar to any language on Earth. It's not an Indo-European language. It's just its own isolate. And it's said that they're an ancient people who predate the arrival of the Indo-Europeans to the European continent. A large community emigrated from Basque country, from the Old World, to the western United States, popping up in many different communities where the climate was suitable enough to raise sheep, something they knew very well in the Old World. Boise, Idaho is home to one of the largest continuous Basque populations in the entire country. And as you can see, all these shops are lined up with historic Basque cultural charm. You see symbols on the streets, flags of Basque country. And it may only be one block, but the block is jam-packed with art, decoration, architecture, shops and museums that pay respect to this time-honored community here in Boise. See, now wasn't that just extraordinary? Not every day you get to see those folk dances. I'm glad that we had today as our day in Boise. Yeah, may not have happened any other day. We just got lucky. With a population of about 237,000 and of course hundreds of thousands more in the metro area, seems like Boise is going through an identity crisis. You see, for a long time, Boise was just another small town. In recent years, it's just grown tremendously. So the people of Boise might have to grapple with, are they just part of a small town? Are they now urbanites? It's a hard question to answer, especially when problems arise of, congested traffic. That's a big one. One of America's newest major cities, but still trying to hold on to the traces of its small town past. It's just something that Boise is just gonna have to deal with and figure out in the coming years. Well, when you happen to arrive and spend a day in Boise, even if it's just merely one day, there's only one place you need to go to eat, if any place. And that's the West Side Drive-In. You know why? Because they allow you to feast proper Idaho style. What's in front of me is a potato with ice cream on it. Yeah, Idaho is home to the ice cream potato. Such a delicacy, and I'm very excited to try it. And now, of course, everybody knows about Idaho's world-famous potatoes. You can mash them, boil them, put them in a stew, even ship them to restaurants around the country to make fries. And I think in Boise, it's the best place to find the ice cream potato. So let's dig in. Oh, no way. I literally thought it was a potato with some toppings on it, frozen with maybe ice cream, but it's literally vanilla ice cream that looks and is shaped like a potato. I had no idea. That is a winner. Complete winner. Get an ice cream potato for yourself. You will enjoy it. Wait, I can't just ruin my appetite with all this sugar. We gotta try what's in here, because this is also something you can only find, not only in Idaho, but I think it's only exclusive to Boise. Oh my gosh, I was expecting a snack and I got a full meal. Garlic bread and everything. This is a finger steak. Kind of like a chicken tender, but I think this is steak inside. Hey, I like fried stuff. Yeah. That's pretty good. Well, there you go, Boise, capital and largest city of Idaho. There's so much to do here. It's such an underrated city. We know of all these great American cities, but I think Boise's gonna be the next up-and-coming superstar. That's for sure. City of Trees. Wait a minute, that sounds familiar. Didn't we already go to a City of Trees? Yeah, Sacramento also shares that nickname. Come on, you two, pick a different nickname. I don't know who started and who copied, or if it was just a pure coincidence, but one city per nickname. Choose something unique. I guess you two can share the nickname, but it won't be as iconic. Oh well. Idaho, number 48, the gem state. What do you think of? What comes to mind with Idaho? Obviously, potatoes, world famous, just like this ice cream potato that's not really made of potatoes. I guess I was mistaken. But yeah, potatoes, known all throughout the world, that Idaho reigns supreme, at least for the US, as that iconic potato state. Idaho is also known for its diverse landscapes and nature. It's a big, big natural state full of mountains where nobody lives for tens and tens of miles. It's an expansive, vast state, very empty. But it also has its share of lakes and rivers, of course the Snake River, Boise River. It's truly an outdoors paradise. And then, of course, true to its nickname, it has a lot of gemstones. Can't really think of anything that comes to the top, to the forefront of my mind. Maybe it's just the beauty of that state, that it's such an underrated state. Like I said in the beginning, I bet the people of Idaho like that they're under the radar in terms of tourism. I don't know if I'm correct or slightly off, but I believe this is our 200th location visited. Now that's an accomplishment. Yeah, 200 locations all across the US. We have literally been almost everywhere. Yeah, no corner of the country is safe from us here on the Coverage Project. 200. Yeah, I can't wait for 300 and 400 and 500 if that's even realistic. But it's always enjoyable to hit these milestones with you guys. I'm also glad that we could spend such a pleasant, exciting day in Boise, given that it's our debut into our final state of the lower 48. Lower 48, but there's Hawaii. Hello? That's a weird name, but whatever. You guys know what I mean. We've hit up every single state in the contiguous US. We have 2 states left. We even have some more Idaho content, so stay tuned. It'll be an exciting time these next few legs. Even though it's the final leg of the Best of the Most West tour, we still have a couple more exciting destinations. So we'll leave it off at that. Continuing to enjoy my finger steaks and ice cream potato. Enjoying this beautiful late afternoon, early evening in Boise, Idaho, capital of the Gem State. More travels to come. I will see you at the next location.